Hey folks, it's Matt once again, coming at you with another review. A film I wanted to watch this again. This was another gift from John Zero Cool 1389. He just gave this to me for my birthday back in May, and that was Air Force One. And I finally got around to watching it again because I just wanted to watch it. It's been a long time, and of course, this year you had Olympus Has Fallen, you had White House Down, so why not another Die Hard type of movie dealing with the White House? Well, not the White House, but the presidency, and definitely the best of the three in my opinion, and that's Air Force One. Directed by Wolfgang Peterson, who I thought did a good job with this. He also did In the Line of Fire, which is one of my favorite Clint Eastwood films. Das Boot, which I never saw but wasn't really interested. Troy, not really interested in that film. Perfect Storm, not a fan of that movie. I think did Wolfgang Peterson do Enemy Mine? If so, I enjoy that film. And In the Line of Fire and Air Force One are definitely my two favorites of Wolfgang Peterson. And Air Force One, what more can I say? It's Harrison Ford as a kick-ass president, and watching this film again, I'm like, I would vote for this guy as president. To me, my favorite president in a movie, I mean, you had Deep Impact with Morgan Freeman as president, you have Bill Pullman Independence Day, you have a lot of presidents, but this is my favorite. I know at one point I think Kevin Costner was going to do the film, but I'm glad he didn't. I think Harrison Ford fits a lot better. I know there was talk that if they didn't get Harrison Ford, there was talk of Arnold Schwarzenegger, which, I'm sorry, that would not work at all. He did do the action, but not... I don't care if he was governor. From what I heard, he was a shitty governor. Not as president. Keanu Reeves? No. No one will buy Keanu Reeves as the president. They would not buy him. Dennis Quaid I could see. Dennis Quaid, I think that'd be interesting, Dennis Quaid. But I'm so glad we got Harrison Ford. And I enjoy Harrison Ford as an actor. I think this is a very fun action movie. Was a big hit when it came out. Deserves it. Kind of gets some flack today. I don't know why. People mention the CGI. I'll give you one scene when Air Force One actually crashes to the water. That CGI is not up to snuff. I mean, it was back in 1997, but But the other special effects, I think, are good. I think they worked fine, especially for a film 1997. I think they worked fine, to be, in my opinion. What can I say? But I mean, the film starts out. We have this special ops team that's, I think, Russian Americans. They get this dictator, played by Jurgen Prochnow, actually. And Harrison Ford gives this great speech saying, you know, we will no longer be afraid. You know, it's your turn to be afraid. You're like, yeah, this is a president I would get behind. Yay. Love it. And, you know, people are a little bit miffed that he said that, but he's like, no, we don't have a new policy. You know, tired people getting killed. And, you know, he's a president you can get behind. And he goes on Air Force One. I love it. You have some bits of humor, not tons, but little bits. Like someone tried to tell him about the game, what's a football game, I think, and you know, Harrison Ford hits him on the head, goes, you know, don't brief me on it. I wanted to watch it for Christ's sake. I thought that was pretty funny. And all the supporting cast does well. I mean, on the ground, you got Glenn Close as the vice president. You got Dean Stockwell as the Secretary General or Defense Secretary. That may be the same thing. Gary Oldman as the bad guy. He really does a great job. William H. Macy is in a supporting role. The people who played his wife, his kid, Harrison Ford's wife and kid, they did a great job. No problems with the cast whatsoever. You have this anxiety. You have a mole amidst the Secret Service. I think the actor's name is Xander Berkeley. He's been in a few films. I think he was in Candyman, among other films. He makes it so that Gary Oldman and his team take over the plane. And again, this was R-rated. And this just works better for R-rated. It's mainly for violence. Because I don't remember much cussing, and I don't remember, there's no nudity, so it's for violence. Oh, it says right there, rated R for violence. And, you know, people get hit as blood squibs and practical, and they look so much better than what they do today. And I know I harp on that in some of these films, but it's a little detail, but it helps. Every little bit helps. It's like, okay, people got killed. Ooh, shit. Not, is that CGI or practical? Because they can't even do that right today. I mean, that's one little thing to be irritated on in action movies today that you didn't have to worry about back then. But these bad guys are not fucking around. The emergency pod gets deployed, and they think the president's on it, and then later on they find that it's empty because Harrison Ford stayed behind. Before you find that out, the pilots try to land, the bad guys get in, fuck with the pilots, they get the plane back up, and you can tell the budget was used well. I mean, the way Air Force One is a big fucking plane, and whether it be on the runway or in the sky, I thought the effects, you see some miniature work as well. I think they were used to good effect, in my opinion. Thought they did a good job with it. Other than the one scene where it lands in the water, I'll give you that. That's not the best CGI at all. But the rest of it, I think, is good. But yeah, Harrison Ford stays behind, and he lures one bad guy while playing this football game on his TV, and gets around and ultimately fights the guy, uses a stool to knock him out, ultimately has to shoot him, and it's like, okay, this is a president you can get behind. This is a president who can defend himself, because not only is he president, but apparently he was a helicopter pilot back in the day, and he's a guy who knows combat, which I'm like, I thought that's a cool idea. And you buy Harrison Ford as a president as well as an action guy. So I thought that was perfect casting. It really worked well because you bought him in both fronts. He can throw a punch, but he can also be diplomatic. I thought perfect casting. And yeah, I mean, you just say it has cliches. You know, they go like Harrison Ford going through the baggage to find anything. You know, we're going to kill a hostage every half hour. Yeah, the moment where they put a gun to someone's head and they tell them, hey, come on out here or we'll kill them. Kind of like in Die Hard, where instead it was Ellis. And, you know, they shoot Ellis and, you know, John McClane could not. Here it's a much more likable person because it's not Ellis who's a dick. But puts a gun to a woman's head and Harrison Ford can't do it because, you know, they'll kill him and it'll be game over. But Harrison Ford shows good emotion during that scene. But yeah, Gary Oldman, he really sold it. He really bought his character. You know, he's a Russian. He wants the dictator, the Jurgen Pronow's character, released. He at first thinks, like the others, that the president's not on board, and then he thinks it's, you know, some Secret Service guy on board. I just love the idea that it all takes place on the plane. You know, such a... I don't know how planes work, so all that gunfire, I don't know if all that gunfire would, unless you hit a window, it would fuck something up, or the fact that it was Air Force One, so it's so big. But I didn't give a shit either way. It didn't matter to me. Still a fun movie. Still entertaining film. But Gary Oldman, you buy again, he's a Russian, you buy that he buys what he's saying. He believes in what he's saying. He believes in what he's thinking. And he does a great job. I think he's a hell of a lot better than, I will say, Rick Yoon in Olympus Has Fallen. Rick Yoon, to me, was very emotionless. Barely an emotion. Gary Oldman, though, sold the shit out of it. Yeah, when he got pissed, he was pissed. When he was angry, he was angry. When he was serious. Even though I, myself, don't believe in his cause, you know that he himself believes in his cause. And you really buy it. Gary Oldman did a great job as the villain. And yeah, this moment where Harrison Ford gets on the phone, and of course, they don't believe he's the president. He's like, you know, trace the goddamn call. And again, this is a guy who thinks, because he finally gets to the people at the, I don't know if you want to say Pentagon, White House, wherever the hell they're at, to basically Glenn Close to them. But he put the phone in his pocket and someone's got a gun on him. And he says, oh yeah, well if they fire a missile at us, all they'll do is, maneuver and pretty much tell him to fire on Air Force One to create a distraction, and then he beats the fuck out of the guy. And does a good job and gets in a fight. It's actually, I should say, Andrew Divoff. Andrew Divoff from Wishmaster, among many other films. He gets in the, they fire on Air Force One. There's an explosion that hits near Air Force One. And Harrison Ford is fighting Andrew Divoff. Ultimately, it breaks his neck. Goes to fuel control, and that's when, after that woman dies, he can't go because he'll be captured. It'll be game over. Good emotion. He takes care of the fuel, so he's dumping the fuel. And I like this moment. I did little bits of humor that work where he's calling the phone and he's supposed to put certain wires together, but he doesn't get what it is. So it's like black, yellow, red, white, and blue, and he's like, I'm counting on you, red, white, and blue. So he puts the others two together and it works. He gets shot at, he fools a guy by speaking Russian, you find out he fucks up that guy. He's able to get to the other passengers and out of the hostages. William H. Macy says, well, if they need to refuel, we gotta let them know if they go to a certain level. Most of these, everyone can parachute out of here. And this woman goes, well, the phones don't work, but you can fax, so they fax it. And they're able to get there, and they're parachuting down. But then the bad guys notice. And again, a fun scene, they start shooting at the people, and the flames and sparks. Well, they're refueling with Air Force One, and things are going rickety, ape shit. And the thing catches on fire, and the refueling plane blows up. And at this moment, Harrison Ford's hanging for dear life, and you have this explosion happening behind him. And I think it's a good-looking shot. At least it was nice to look at on Blu-ray. It was a good-looking shot. Oh, by the way, for those wondering, this is actually widescreen. I know the DVD I had is full screen, but this Blu-ray is widescreen. So I don't know if other DVDs are widescreen. But if it's not widescreen, just to let you know that this Blu-ray is widescreen. So, in case you want to see the film widescreen, there you go. Which was nice to see this in widescreen. And it looked fine on Blu-ray, but it only has a director's commentary. Should definitely have a lot more features. I mean, interview with Harrison Ford, interview with Gary Oldman, some of the other actors, the director. I mean, Air Force One deserves it. It was a big hit. It's a big movie in Harrison Ford's career, just like The Fugitive or any other films. But I like that moment. I like, Harrison Ford hanging for dear life, and there's the fucking refueling plane blowing up right behind him. He almost falls off, and then he's captured. And he's pretty much telling them no. They want him to call the Russians and release the dictator. He's like, no. And of course, they threaten his kid, and ultimately he says okay. But it's to stall them so that he finds something and he's tied up and he cuts it with this piece of glass or whatever. And once he gets enough, I love this moment, he just fucks up Gary Oldman. It's like, gets him, turns him over, fucks up this guy, turns, shoots this guy in the head. One guy puts himself in front of the president, and the fucking president's bad, shoots another bad guy, going after Gary Oldman. The wife does something, pounces on Gary Oldman, they're fighting back and forth, grabs him, releases, says, get off my plane. Throws his ass, breaks his neck, and parachutes off to La La Land because he's deader than a doornail. And then that's not the end of it, because now they have to try to fly the plane, and you have bad guys, MiGs. And so the good guys have to come with their F-16s, and Harrison Ford having to maneuver Air Force One from missiles, and good guys come in, fuck up some of the bad guy MiGs, and then, oh shit, we can't land it, so we gotta have a rescue attempt. Kind of like, it wasn't a rescue attempt, but remember Cliffhanger when they had to roll from one plane to another, and that was they went from one plane to another. Here's the same thing, where, okay, here's one plane, here's another, We gotta get them, then go back and forth. And of course, that's where the mole, Xander Berkeley, kills one guy, kills William H. Macy. But Harrison Ford gets him, fucks him up a bit, gets out of there in the nick of time as, granted, not the best special effects shot. It lands in the water, not the best shot. But the real Harrison Ford in, and he's kissing his wife, and they're going home, and music, I always forget, Jerry Goldsmith did the music for this. I think it was a very short time, and I don't think he had a fun time because it was just a short span. I think someone else did the music. I remember reading somewhere that I think the guy who would do Toy Story 3 did music for this. And like he used some of the stuff he did, he used for Toy Story 3. I don't know. I can't remember. I can't confirm that. But it's just what I read. But Jerry Goldsmith did a great job with the score. And I love that. Dun, 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 dun. And even at the end, it's like you see the president with his wife, his kid, they're going home. Dun, 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 ba-dum-bum. Like, yeah, you know, fucking A, US of A, and all that stuff, you know. Patriotic, but at the same time, I just not bouncing me on the nose and punching me in the head with it. The only problem I have with the film is the pacing is not the best because it's over 2 hours long. Yeah, 124 minutes, 125 minutes long. And I think there are little moments you could have chopped out that have a little bit of a better pace. Either that or put a little bit more bad guys for Harrison Ford to fuck up. But the pacing dragged a little bit at times. The pacing dragged a bit. But honestly, for me, that's more of a nitpick than a problem. For this film. Sometimes there's a big problem. Here is a nitpick. Because the rest of the film, I think the production value is there. I think the special effects, other than that one shot that I talked about a few times where it lands in the water, the other special effects shots work well. Harrison Ford knocked it out of the park. He was a great president, my favorite president on a movie. Gary Oldman worked well as the bad guy. The supporting cast, like Glenn Close, Dean Stockwell, they did fine with their roles. Although at the end of the day, if you cut that whole stuff with Glenn Close and Dean Stockwell, I would have been fine. If it was just 100% on the plane, I would have been fine. It would not have mattered one way or another. Maybe that would have helped with the pacing. Because Glenn Close was good, and Dean Stockwell was fine. But yeah, I'm just saying, if you cut that out, it wouldn't have mattered to me. But you know, when they were there, they were fine. There was no problem acting-wise. Harrison Ford kicked some ass. It was nice that he went through, you know, he's from fucking up the bad guys, then being, you know, Midge coming after them, then dealing with the mole and trying to get out of there before it crashes, and almost eating it when the refueling plane. So this president is going through a lot. He's having a shitty day. But great score by Jared Goldsmith. May he rest in peace. This is an entertaining film. I mean, you just say this is Die Hard on a White House. Well, actually, that's Olympus Has Fallen. Die Hard on Air Force One. I keep thinking White House because I just keep thinking of Olympus Has Fallen, White House Down, which came out this year. But it's Die Hard on Air Force One, or you just say Die Hard on a plane. I think this is a lot better than Executive Decision. Executive Decision with Kurt Russell and Steven Seagal, I did not like at all. I thought it was a boring film. I thought it was a tedious film. I thought this film was a lot better than Executive Decision. I think this film did that much better. Harrison Ford did a great job. You know, I have a nitpick with the pacing, but the pacing of Executive Decision, that's a major problem with the film. And that film has a lack of action. That film just not that exciting. Here, it's a lot more exciting, fun, entertaining, some good action. Harrison Ford knocked out of the park. Gary Oldman made a solid villain. Great score by Jerry Goldsmith. Fun, entertaining film. Really enjoy this flick. Other than the one or two nitpicks I said, still a really great film. I don't really understand why it gets hated on now. I personally don't feel it deserves it. I feel it's still a solid film. I just definitely say I still love the film, and I still think it's one of Harrison Ford's best films. You know, up there with The Fugitive and the Indiana Jones films and so on. And yeah, Air Force One is a solid flick. So either way, thanks for watching. Take care, and we'll see you later.